Right, it's time for the second half of December, my second half of December reads. And I had a good second half of the month. I think it's with Christmas when you're just sort of lazing around and having the chance to read. The first one I read was one that comes out on the 3rd of January, so very, very close. And it's being touted as the book of the year, the book of 2023. And I can see why. It's Age of Vice by Deepti Kapoor. And it's family saga, it's a crime, it's all to do with gangsters, it's set in India, and it is a terrific read. I really, really enjoyed this one. I gave it a 5-star. It begins with a young boy, AJ, being sold by his mother. And he becomes a sort of servant slave, and then eventually he ends up as Sunny Vardy's man. And Sunny is the son of Banti Vardia, who is this almost gangster. Sunny is the playboy son, totally hedonistic life, and money's no object. There's drugs, there's drink, there's sex, and AJ is his servant. And then into that life comes Nida, who's a journalist, and it's her relationship as well. It's a world of power and corruption, and in Delhi, Sunny's father rules everything and everyone. And there's a car crash. Near the very beginning, there's a car crash. And this car crash changes everybody's lives. Because when the car crash happens, it kills 5 homeless people. And the person sitting in the driving seat is AJ. And the book is almost with sort of flashbacks of what went before. It's the fallout of this car crash. And it's a thrilling climax as well. Apparently it's the first of a trilogy. So I'm dying to see what happens next. And yes, everyone is saying this is going to be the book of the year, and I think it could well be. The next one was an audio book, and it was Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole, and the very first Gothic novel. And I just found it so over-dramatic, so melodramatic, and I found it almost farcical. And I'm so pleased that the genre developed into the Gothic genre that we love now. I just found the princesses simpering and Manfred so over the top. Then I moved on to The Innocent One by Lisa Ballantyne, and that comes out, it was a NetGalley again, it comes out in January, the 12th of January, and it's almost a follow-up to The Guilty One, which I've never read, but that didn't matter. Daniel's a lawyer, and 10 years previous to this book, he defended Sebastian, who was an 11-year-old who'd on trial for killing his best friend. He was acquitted. The whole book is from Daniel's perspective because out of the blue, Sebastian rings him and wants his help. Sebastian's at university and his tutor has been murdered, and Sebastian is afraid that because of his history, the police will immediately think that he's the killer. It's all from Daniel's perspective. I would have liked some of Sebastian's input as well. I would have liked to know where he was coming from. I didn't find there any twists in this one, and the ending was what I was expecting. For me, I would have preferred more Sebastian. Then I went to another NetGalley, and this was The Private Lives of Trees by Alejandro Zambra, and it's a Chilean author, and it's translated from the Spanish. And this is a very, very small book, 88 pages. And you've got Julian, who talks to his stepdaughter tells her stories while they're waiting for their mother to come home. And he tells her stories about trees. Two trees who have grown together for years and years, and the trees talk to each other. And while his daughter Daniela sleeps, Julian remembers his past. He remembers how he met Danielle's mother. He remembers past relationships. And the book itself is about relationships, about those who touch us and the impact they have on us, whether it's a large impact or a small impact. It's about family. And he wonders what sort of father he's going to be. And the book just continues while they're waiting for her to come home, because he says the story ends when she walks through the door. And that is a very gentle book. It's a book we all need sometimes. It's a book that allows us just to take a breath. Then I read one of my Christmas presents, which was The Winter Cottage by Rachael Lucas. And this is a really sort of feel-good novel full of friendship, secrets and love. And there is nothing in here that's not to like. It's just a gentle, easy read. It's set in the Highlands. You've got Rilla, who returns to her father's cottage after his death to clear it out. She used to spend all her summers there and hasn't been back for years. And when she was there, her and her sister would play with the Fraser children, the 4 Fraser children, 3 girls and a boy. They were sort of like a little gang over the summer. And when she goes back, she reconnects with these, and she finds that her teenage crush on Lachlan never really disappeared. But Lachlan has got his own problems because his father died, and he's now got to decide what to do with his huge house. But yeah, a gentle read. There's nothing not to like in this. Then I moved on to another NetGalley, another thriller, The Institution by Helen Fields, which comes out on the 2nd of March. And this is a real roller coaster. You've got Connie and Brodie Barder. Connie's a psychologist and Brodie Barder is her partner. And they go undercover at the institution, which is a mental... it's a place for the criminally insane. And in this institution, a nurse has been murdered and her unborn child forcibly taken from her by a cesarean and is now being held hostage. And Connie and Barder have got to find out who killed her and where this child is, because they're on a time clock. This child will only survive for a matter of days without medical care and proper love. And they're undercover. Barder, his undercover persona is a prisoner, so he's incarcerated, while Connie is there as a sort of psychologist. And between the two of them, they've got to get inside these men and staff and find out who killed this nurse and where this child is. And it is a real roller coaster. The building itself is almost another character, with its tunnels and its dark corners. And when the weather throws another spanner in the works, it is a really good read, that one. And then the last one was an audiobook, and that was If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamuro. And this is a book that makes you think about what's important in life, because our narrator is dying, but a pact with the devil means he gets one extra day. If he sends something away from the world, if he gets rid of something from the world, he gets an extra day of life. And while he decides what to get rid of, he discusses internally what these items meant to him, what they mean to the world. Would the world miss them? And ultimately, when the devil decides he's going to get rid of all cats, that's when our narrator goes back into his memories, goes back into his past, and remembers his mother, his father, and everything that was important to him. And that is a book that makes you think. and I really enjoyed that one. So those are my 7 books of the second half of the year. So I've now got to decide which is my book of the... Sorry, not the second half of the year, the second half of December. So I've now got to decide which was my book of December. I had 3 5-stars. The Age of Vice, Private Life of Trees, and from the first half of the month, I had The Night Tiger. And I think my book of the month is going to be The Night Tiger, because I just love the magical realism in that one. And I love the myths and the murders. And yeah, my book of December is The Night Tiger. So we're getting, well, it's next year. We're heading into next year. So I'm going to see what I hope I have. 2023 is going to be as good a reading year as 2022 is. So I will see you very shortly, because I've got to do my wrap up for the year. And I'll catch you soon. So happy reading. Take care.